Hey YouTube, it's Thomas again. So here today I'm at my buddy's home. I'm going to talk about his stereo system. So in the past I've talked about stereo systems that are in 30,000 ohm, 20,000 and so forth, right? But what about systems that are entry level, such as what I have here behind me? So this system belongs to my friend, and he has a very interesting background when it comes to music. He started about 50 years ago, and every single high-end equipment that you can think of, he owned it before. For example, the Macintosh C22, the Audio Research SP11, the Marantz 7, and even the Jadis JP80. Jadis is about 15,000, 12,000, actually no, 13,000 in the year 1990. Right, so he had many systems, and most of them were about 40K, 30K at the time, multiple on top of that. So in today's money, we're probably looking about 70, 80,000, right? So now that he's retired, it's interesting, he started playing with vintage gear, and what he can achieve with this is quite amazing. So as you know from my past video, I'm a bargain hunter. I try to get the maximum sound for the least possible money. In this case, this is master level, right? This, you get like crazy amount of sound for very, very little money. In fact, every time when I come here and when I leave, I question my sanity. Why am I spending so much money on stereo gear when I can achieve such an amazing result with so little money? Now, before we start this video, we were actually spending time listening to his setup. So every week the setup is a bit different. So today, okay, so he knew that I was coming over. So we have this Audio Experience Symphony preamp. I actually owned it. This was mine. And for today, the amp, we're using an ATI 1502, and that was also mine. But it's incredible what he can do with these two. At my home, this is what I call entry-level sound, and me and my buddies come over, we listen to it on my system, we find it, okay, it's good, it's entry-level. But here, it's amazing level. And this is pairing with a speaker that's like $100. So how is it possible the same amp, same preamp at his home sounds 10 times better than at my home? So I guess the key is because he really understands each equipment, right? The signature, the type of sound it gives, and what he needs to do to make sure it maximizes potential. The key here is, of course, pairing it with the right interconnects and finding the right source for it and matching it well with the speaker. So it might not work well with a different speaker, but with this speaker, for example, is perfect. The singer is really standing here. The instruments are really surrounding her. Nothing is muddy, and the bass is just very clean and very tight. In fact, there are many times where we listen to music here, we take the CD home to our fancy system, and we cannot achieve that result. It just baffles us, right? So what is the difference between a system like this and a high-end system? I guess the key word here is refinement. So yes, you won't have that super resolution that only a super tweeter can give you. You won't have that crazy low-end bass where you have like the more modern woofers can do and so forth. But everything that our high-end system can do, this can do it, just not as refined. How does he do it? Why can he do this, right? So I guess number one is understanding his equipment. He understands it very well. For example, if you have an amp that's really warm, then you don't pair it with a speaker that is too warm, right? If that combination there is really warm, then he makes sure that his source is very thin. So, and then he'll fine tune it with the interconnects. So he knows how to balance it. So that's good news for those of you who are just starting out and don't want to spend too much money. I'm telling you, it is possible to achieve amazing sound with very low price. Next, you need to know how to pair your speakers with the room size, right? Like for example, at my home, it's a bit small, but yet I try to use very big speakers. It's not a good match. So when I look at these bookshelf speakers here, it's a fantastic match here. So that's why when we listen to song here, it's not messy at all. Like the bass is just very, very clean. I think on top of understanding his understanding of his gear and making sure there's perfect synergy, he's also an expert when it comes to interconnects. In fact, he built his own interconnects, and there's like a lot of it in this room. I'll show a video of it. Um, Here's the interesting part. He has a lot of expensive interconnects, and yet he doesn't use it. It's just because of the fact that using expensive interconnect does not necessarily work in this kind of setup. He has expensive CD-ROMs, and yet he chooses to use CD-ROMs that are $30, $50, $20, because an expensive CD-ROM does not necessarily work in this environment. So I guess it's very important that you have a good understanding of how interconnect works, which is also why I did a video on the speaker cable matters. And if you know how to build your own interconnects, which he does, that's where you can really fine-tune the system. And that can make the difference between a mediocre system and an amazing system. So I guess I'll end my video here. I'll probably do a separate video for each equipment here. So if you have any questions, just put in the comments. I'm going to play a sound clip from this system now in the second video, just to make sure I don't have that copyright issue. All right, thanks.